Jeff, first half, you guys had a little trouble getting started, and then 3 straight red zone trips was the story of that first half, and only 3 points to show for it. Can you talk about kind of the frustration there?
I think we moved the ball well, and it's tough. Our identity is definitely throwing the football, and it's tough when you're down the red zone. And teams, there's less field, so there's a lot less zones. And our receivers played great. And it's just tough to be in that situation. I think we had one, where Grant kind of squirted out and almost got down there. We didn't score a touchdown on it. You know what I mean? And we got to be more efficient down there, I think, and not leave it up to a field goal kicker. And we didn't get points. That hurts.
Jeff, it wasn't a very balanced attack today. It was very pass heavy. Is that the plan going in, or is that something that did you adapt?
No, that's we have different types of offense against different teams. They're very good up front, and we believe in our guys, and we believe in pass protection. They're a team that is more geared to stop the run. And we felt we had matchups in the pass game. Our best players are, when they're on 7, 14, 25, getting the ball in their hands. So we're going to do what we think is best for each opponent, and we wanted to get those guys as many catches as possible.
Does your personal approach change at all, knowing that if you're behind in a game as opposed to being out front?
It's obviously easier to play in the front, out front. I think that's why it's frustrating. If we could have got up on them a little bit, it changes how their offense is going to play. It's easy. It's hard to play from behind all the time, and we put ourselves in that position. But definitely, it's a lot easier to play with a lead than it is from behind. I think pressure's pressure. I think that's part of the position to step up and make plays when you can. They got some good players. And we knew that coming in, and we did a good job at points. And sometimes they beat us, but they got some good players too. So I think 99 is one of the best pass rushers in the league, and 88 in there is a great player, and really everyone up front for them. They rotate a lot of guys, and they play really hard. And they won some, and we won a lot also. I shouldn't have made that throw. I think. You kind of get caught up in the game, and you want to make every play. And I think at some point you got to realize let's eat it and live for another down. And I threw it in there. I don't know what really happened. They made the call that they made, and it really comes back to the decision. They should have made that decision.
Whether you run it, whether you throw it, whatever you do, it's about getting the ball to the people you want to have the ball on your team against the guys you want them to have it against on the other team. So it's more about what we do best and what we do. Who our playmakers are, and trying to get the football to them. So Harvard's really well coached. They do a lot of great things, but we need to focus on what we do and our execution offensively in that regard, if that's the game plan you're talking about.
Were you surprised by how much Harvard threw the ball, given that a backup quarterback in there and they had the lead for most of the game?
No, not really. My experience with Harvard has been that they're extremely efficient on offense, and that they pride themselves on developing quarterbacks who make good decisions. And so when their starter's not in there, the way they recruit and develop, I'm sure that they had, and they did, a young man who's going to step in and make the decision that they want to make.
The red zone for the second week was another thing that's going to be brought up again. What's the approach? How is it different this week? How did you plan for red zone this week as opposed to last week?
Well, red zone and third down are situations in football that become opponent-based. So while you want to do the things you do well, typically a football team does something in the red zone around third down. They have a certain flavor or a certain signature. And so it's hard to compare week to week red zone and third down just without having all the other variable in there is, the other team's personnel or scheme what they do. So our approach was what we thought was going to work best against Harvard, in mind keeping in mind what we think is our best chance with our best players. So it's not necessarily a cut and dry week to week type of thing.
Coach, talking about the defense a little bit, new changes this year, new coordinator. Obviously, a lot of new guys.
Sure.
After a tough year last year, where do you rate the progress of kind of your defensive unit so far?
I think it's there's some good things that are progressing really well, and I think there's things that we need to keep working on. I think that anytime you have something that's new, there's a learning curve, and you just have to make sure that each week we're putting the right guys in the right position. And obviously it's not the same 11 that started the Bucknell game. Injuries are part of the game of football, and if this guy's hurt, then we actually have to shift this guy to this position, which means him over here. So which is every football team. But I think that we just need to keep looking at the tape and keep improving on the alignment and swarm and block destruction and tackling and ultimately taking the football away. We're sitting here against a a really good Harvard team, and what were we, -1? Yeah. So we lost the turnover battle. You know what I mean? So that's going to be a tough sled to play a really good team, no matter where you play them, home, away, neutral site, and lose the turnover battle.
I think we took a big step in the right direction today. Obviously, there were some plays where we weren't assignment sound or we didn't execute at the level we wanted to, but I think physically we really took a big step today. We had guys flying around, attacking the football, like he was saying. We didn't get the ball enough. We only had 1 turnover on defense, which, again, a team like Harvard, that's not enough. So we got to focus on that. We got to make that a priority for us.
There's a lot of spread on offense, passing attacks in Ivy League, obviously. What's the biggest approach you guys take to try to slow all these fast-paced offenses down?
I mean, we believe that we set the tempo. So they might be a no-huddle team, they might be a hurry-up. It doesn't matter. We're going to get lined up. We're going to be assignment sound. We're going to communicate, and we're going to execute the best we can and focus on the next play.
Harvard's undefeated, top team in the Ivy right now. How is this game important in just a measuring stick, knowing where you stack with the rest of the Ivy?
I think that, yes, that's accurate about Harvard and how they've been traditionally, and I mean it's not luck by them. It's what Tim Murphy created, and they do a fantastic job. But I'll say this about the Ivy League: it feels like when I was getting recruited back in the early 2000s, where you're going to watch, mark my words, and it's going to be like, holy smokes, this team just beat this team. But, oh, wait a second, and then they went around and beat it. It's going to be wild, and that's a good Harvard team, and it was a really good football game out there today. And I wish we made more plays than we did because it was a really great atmosphere for Ivy League football. And I think that I'm really in favor of the Ivy League Digital Network and the more promoting they can do of this league because, as Jeff mentioned, there's really good players for Harvard. We have really good players, and it's a great opportunity to come and play football in an amazing school and get a great education. So I think what you're going to see measuring stick-wise, I think that was just a great football game today, and we didn't make enough plays. But we got more games to play, and we got more work to do.
When it comes down to it, I think you play, one Saturday, and that was one Saturday of the year, and that, on the scoreboard they were a little better than us today, but I don't think that really impacts us moving forward or what we've done in the past. Obviously, I think next Saturday is a completely different opponent. I think that's where most people look at it. I think from the outside world, you try to get caught up in, hey, they have streaks of this and streaks of that, but we're really focused on what we're doing next, how we're going to approach the next game, how we're going to approach the next opponent, and ultimately this was one Saturday, in October, and I think we'll move forward, and the next one will be, hopefully a better, success for us. But I think ultimately, it's tough because there's not as much from football. You get a whole week to prepare for another opponent and change some things. They change some things, and it just becomes, what are you going to do on a Saturday? And I think that's really what it indicates more than anything else.